We're back. Thank you so much. How are we doing today?
Hi Jason, it's good to be back after so long. I'm so excited about this project.
Hello Jason.
How are we doing, both of you? So I will say something to everyone who's watching these videos, as well as Chanel and CJ. So I'm actually looking at my phone underneath the screen, but I'm going to try my best to be looking through the camera as if I'm chatting through a webcam, but I don't have any of that live stuff set up, so I apologise to everyone if I end up doing that, and Chanel, CJ as well, to you guys, because I'm not actually looking at you when I'm doing this. It's like I'm looking up here. So today I wanted to introduce everyone who might be new to hypnotism, to yourselves, your kind of journey through hypnotism, and also getting on to HFO and hypnotism, and then the documentary that we're doing together. So I've also got my questions with me, my handy questions. So first of all, Chanel, where should we start? How does hypnotism work? What's going on in the brain? You know, what is hypnotism? How does it work? And well, that's it. Let's start there.
So hypnotism to me is exactly like meditation. So I often refer to it a lot as the alternate state. So you feel relaxed. It's not something where you give your control over to somebody else. You are fully aware of your surroundings. You just don't care what's going on around you, because how you feel and what's going on inside your own mind is far more interesting. So that basis, we can deepen it and really get some therapeutic work done, or even some fun.
And just get onto yourselves. Anunna Healing. First simple question with that. What does Anunna mean? What does Anunna Healing mean, and where does it come from?
Yeah, so I know it's quite a unique name, but I've always been interested in history, and Anunna is from an ancient civilization of the Sumerians, and Anunna is the plural word for their gods. So I thought it was quite interesting for Anunna Healing, so it means to be healed by the gods, in another word, but very much into history, all world history. I think it's fascinating, and there's so much to learn from it as well.
Excellent. Yeah, I obviously know that about yourself, knowing that you used to work at Boza Castle, but we'll get into that, and also how maybe we'll tell the audience why we know each other, and also where this project comes from, if you don't mind me kind of filling in that bit. So I know, Chanel, we did film and video production at Derby University, and that's where we met. Also, my wife Alicia lived with Chanel. How long did you live together for?
For 2 years we lived together through uni. It was fun times, lots of drinking.
Yeah. And then through that, we both did, like I said, film video production. But I suppose after that, and between then and now, things have kind of developed for you. Although you've ended up coming back around to filmmaking, just describe for me how you kind of went from there to where you are now, or to starting Anunna Healing and getting into hypnotherapy.
I have had such a varied career. So leaving uni, I went back to live with my mum, as most people do. And then I've had various jobs over the years. Like you said, worked at Bolsover Castle for 4 years. Amazing. It'll always be my favourite place to work. It's very special to me. And again, with the history thing. And then I met CJ, and we moved out of the local area together, and we began pretty much a new life together from scratch. Good old Yorkshire, when we crossed the border. And I got a job where I wasn't feeling fulfilled. So I'd been a carer before that, and I found so much satisfaction in that job that I was actually helping people, and I was learning so much about people. So to go from that domiciliary caring role to working in the car industry, it just didn't feel right after a while. So I kind of asked the universe in a roundabout way, like, what is my purpose here? Surely I'm here for more than sales. And I'll never forget it. It's such a vivid moment for me, for some reason. So I'm just scrolling through Facebook, and this advertisement came up for a free hypnotherapy weekend, like come and have a taster session, and then if you like it, you can go on to do your diploma. And I don't know why at the time, but I thought it was like not real. for some reason. I thought, oh, I'll just apply, you never know. And then the tutor rang me and we had a talk about it. And so I actually turned up for the free taster weekend and fell in love with it. It was, people talk about the light bulb moment. I had that light bulb moment, but more like struck by lightning. I was like, oh my God, where has this been my whole life? Because I'd always had a lot of health issues, both physically and mentally. And here was this gift presented to me of, you can do it, you can fix yourself, and here's all the possibilities to it. And so I went on to do my 10-month diploma. And during that time, CJ helped me create Anunna Healing, because I really wanted to be a hypnotherapist. So I got my diploma in February 2018, and here we are 6 years later. We've developed it into a full-blown business that's helped people all over the world, which is incredible to say who I was when we first met, when we were 18 years old. A long time ago.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone. So I suppose we'll start again, almost like for myself, like with this documentary, I was very green and very new to it. So a kind of, what would be a question that you would say that you get asked most to someone like myself who's brand new to this kind of world of hypnotherapy?
My most frequently asked question is, can I be hypnotised? And the answer is, yes, you can. You just have to allow it to happen. So a lot of people, because they don't understand what hypnosis is, think that you're giving control over to somebody else, and that can put a barrier up, which is understandable. But when you allow the hypnotist past that barrier of your critical thinking, then magical, wonderful things can happen to you, basically.
How do you kind of how does that develop? I guess is that normally someone that would come to you first, and how do you get between sort of whether that be someone coming to you or even maybe in some of your videos getting over that feeling of, oh, it's not going to work on me, or I don't feel comfortable? How is that bridged?
Rapport. So building up a rapport with someone and the person trusting you is the most important thing. I always talk about that trust factor, and when people tell me they trust me, it's such an honourable privilege to have someone actually trust you with their subconscious. And so I build up the rapport by just being me. I've got nothing to hide. I don't want to mind control you. I don't want to give you negative suggestions. My whole aim here is to give you the same tools I've used on myself, so then you can use those incredible tools to change your life. There is a whole amazing universe out there, and I would love for you to tap into it like I've tapped into it. And the interesting thing is hypnosis is the one thing that people will try last. So they'll try everything else, and then by the time they get to me, they're out of other options, and so they really tend to give it their all for this last go, and it works.
I think also you use or employ a lot of effective tools yourself that you've learnt over through experience, practice, or you just know that work, such as the binaural beats. So very effective, what they call subliminal tools that we put into the tracks, and that's all stemmed from your research and your training also. So
you mentioned some of those, like the binaural beats. What kind of tools and techniques do you use within your kind of day-to-day hypnosis?
Well, for the soundtracks, Chanel came up with the idea to use binaural beats at a certain frequency. So I think it's theta, yeah, which is I think between 4 and 8 hertz. So I generate a tone that produces the binaural beats, and it corresponds to the music as well. So the tonal center of the music. And I'm trying to, from what we've researched together, work at 432 hertz, which is a healing, also a frequency. There's not much science that I can find that tells me everything I need to know about it, other than the fact that it is effective in healing the body. So we're aiming to do more work at 432, aren't we?
Definitely. He's ever so good at creating the music to complement my voice and complement my words. And over the last 6 years, my own personal way of intimate hypnotherapy is using my natural skills as a woman in seduction and playfulness and fun and flirting, because it all helps, especially when working with men, because men are visual, to help create that atmosphere and that feeling of hypnosis, trance, the altered state.
Well, you've transitioned beautifully into the next question. You mentioned about how you've kind of niched or created a niche within your hypnotherapy. Maybe give me a brief introduction into how you got to that stage, but then tell me more about, so what is HFO and erotic hypnotism, and how you got into it and how you use it at Anunna Healing?
Yeah. So the amazing thing about how I've ended up doing my niche of intimate hypnotherapy is just because people were telling me that my voice, my hypnotic voice, was quite seductive. And so I was like, well, if that's working, then let's explore that. And I actually enjoy the whole seduction side of it. I think it's quite natural for a woman to be seductive and like the film noir type.
Yeah, like Dita Von Teese.
Yeah, like Dita Von Teese is such a big inspiration. I think the femininity of it really complements, especially working with men, complements what they're here to experience. And so it's so important to listen to the feedback of what you're getting when you're working with people. Like, your voice is very seductive. I really enjoyed that, and really practicing and honing those skills. And so with them saying that my voice was seductive, I started looking into erotic hypnosis. And that led me down such a path of eye-opening experiences, what people were having. So erotic hypnosis in itself is a well-established community spectrum of everything from the playful, seductive stuff that I do in the hypnotherapy realm of healing, right the way down to the BDSM type hypnosis of mind control. Foot worship is another one in the erotic hypnosis. Be my slave as well, like darker side of things, which I didn't think was erotic in my point of view. I'm quite vanilla. So I thought, I'm going to try my own hand at erotic hypnosis. This is what I think is actually erotic, coming from a clinical hypnotherapist background. And I created, I think it was called the Libido Enhancer, was one of the very first ones I did. And that was so well received. And just building on that, I've created characters and done different scenarios and really gave people the opportunity to experience brand new things, such as HFO. I'd not heard of HFO before the erotic hypnosis side of it. It was completely brand new to me. A lot of people in my comments were saying do a HFO. And so it took me a while to research it and get to understand what it is. Because I think off the bat, people would think it's just an alternative way to get off. But it's not. It's an incredible skill that you can teach yourself, that your body's more than just physical touch. Orgasm does occur in the brain. And so utilising that factor is mind-blowing, and you can really use those skills and transition them into real life, like patience and building on something and just genuinely learning a brand new skill is so beneficial. So HFO is hands-free Big O, let's call it. So you will, there's two different types. There's the full-bodied energetic HFO, where you feel it throughout your whole body, like waves and waves of pleasure. And then the other one is linked to physical, I'm trying to word this correctly, physical sensation and physical reactions. If you're a man, if you think back to when you were a teenager having wet dreams, it's that. So there's two different types of HFO. And I think the full-bodied one is much more beneficial. It's much more longer lasting satisfaction than having your normal quick release. And so teaching men that this is possible allows them to free themselves if they do have corn addiction, for example. A lot of people are using the HFO to overcome that, which I think is such a vital thing and so important, because it is really affects your life negatively when you have an addiction like that.
How, I suppose you kind of answered, you know, how someone can and the different variations, but like, who is HFO for? You mentioned men. Is it just for men, or is it for, who's it for?
HFO is for men and women. Women find HFO very easy because women do orgasm. It is all in the brain. If the brain isn't stimulated, nothing's going to happen. And women actually go into trance when they do experience the big O. So it's very easy for them, very natural. Men, on the other hand, can find it very difficult because they're that used to like one particular physical way of pleasure. It's hard for them to then come to terms with that it is in the brain. You don't have to physically touch yourself, and that pleasure is just as good, better, like I said, longer lasting. And then learning that skill can help you with your physical experience as well. So when you are intimate with a lover, you are longer lasting, you can control the big O more, you're more in the moment with your partner. So it just has this massive knock-on effect for both men and women.
Wow. So how, you mentioned obviously, you know, it was a big boost and how the channel kind of started growing. How has it then developed, and how did you kind of hone in within that kind of niche, and how you've worked with some of your audience and maybe some of the commissions that you've done?
It's been such a fascinating path that we've been on, and I've learned so much from the comments and the emails I've had and the people I've worked with. They're the ones who I've actually learned the most from. And doing video sessions with people, I've been able to, what I call, experiment. So give suggestions that may or may not work, and if they did work, I could then build on it and then maybe try that on somebody else to see if that worked. So,
but we've also got the immense community that you've built up over the years on Discord and Patreon, and the communication backwards and forwards, the feedback, the collaborative stuff that we've worked together on, and ideas that we've talked about. And it's been that sort of process, really, you know, learning from each other, but Chanel doing a thing and researching, and me developing also, as you know, getting to know the science behind the hypnotic sounds and building up the soundscapes, which I'm still learning all the time. You know, I started off really just making drum beats for you, didn't I, in the bedroom. I had nothing really to do with it at the beginning, so I've kind of been drafted in as the science of it has developed, and you've required more help with the soundscapes.
I definitely think the community side of it, doing this documentary with yourselves, is clear that like you're really putting in, like, you know, it's why I love making videos for this channel, is because, and why I think YouTube is quite a good platform for, you know, just passionate people doing things that they're passionate about, that hopefully others find benefit from. And I think that is such a great example with yourselves, because you've clearly put in so much time and effort, and then also the community, and then, for example, some of them like Tom, who we met through the documentary, you know, have then put in their own time and effort to help you out. And obviously it's then reciprocal, that, you know, it helps you get better, like with anyone who puts that time and effort in. And then there's also the community aspect where, you know, people from all over the world are sharing experiences and sharing this kind of, you know, they share this, and that they value this way of doing things and this type of hypnotherapy. And yeah, it's just people being nice to one another, you know, and also putting that time in to help everyone out, you know, which is why, and I think that's why this documentary for me has been a big part of it, and a big, something I really hope people take away from it, is that empowerment that hopefully people gain from, you know, working with yourself. So I suppose, CJ, you kind of sort of touched on it there, and how when it started, you know, how you would do sort of certain drum beats and then would build on top of that. But maybe up to now, you know, today, how do you go about, and Chanel as well, you know, the music, and then Chanel with the script, or however you do that. What are the steps in creating one of your tracks?
Well, it all starts with an idea from Chanel. She decides that she's working on a certain subject matter, and it could be anything from like pain relief to stop smoking, or to do with the sexual health as well. So she starts there and then writes the script, gets the script together, which takes weeks usually, and then when she's happy with it finished, she'll record it, the vocals, and just hand it over to me to have a listen, and I get a feel for what it's about. Try and work out if there's a story, a theme, and then decide on a key that matches the way I'm feeling after listening to it. And that's just through tinkering on the keys, and then I'm happy with that. I'll start thinking about the soundscapes and how the story develops, or the script develops, in terms of scoring it as if it was a movie or a TV documentary or something, and then just get a grasp for what I need to do, and then start putting it all together through keyboard, various samples of sounds that I can add in to accentuate certain parts of the script, and then
like you use natural sounds as well.
Yeah.
Incorporate that in, don't you?
Yeah, so to build up an atmosphere and a soundscape, I've got quite an extensive collection of sounds from outside, living in the countryside, and so yeah, they come in handy for certain things. If we're trying to create a scene, or certain responses are required from the listener, then yeah, the ambient atmospheric sounds become very important. And it's a mixture of, you know, making things or recording natural sounds, and also, you know, trying to keep in with the ambience of it being a healing track and a soothing track, calming and trance-like, and hypnotic, obviously. And then it just develops from there. And then sometimes I'll, you know, make a bit of music out of the end of it, and have a bit of fun with it. And then
And BandLab, we do
some
run
remixes.
We do run into one problem when we're creating a track. After all these years of listening to my own voice and CJ's hypnotic music, you tend to go into trance or fall asleep quite a lot, especially when we're working on a sleep track.
Yeah, editing is quite difficult.
Can you imagine that? That just makes me think of a toddler falling asleep in their spaghetti. Like you're there just editing, and then
Yeah,
you come round, CJ's asleep again.
Yeah. You sort of come round it and
like to lick him in the ear. Like,
yeah,
to
I'm
wake
supposed
him
to
up.
be editing here, not being tranced, hypnotised.
Yeah, it's so difficult. That's one of the reasons why it takes us long, because you'll come out of it and you'll be like, oh, like loads of minutes have gone past that. I'm actually supposed to be checking for mistakes and making sure it flows nicely, and like hours have just disappeared.
Yeah, it's 10 p.m. and then you blink and it's 4 a.m. and you think, wow.
That makes me think that'd make a really cool short film, like you doing your own hypnotism, or, you know, writing a track, but the track kind of coming to life and starting to hypnotize you and send you into this scene that you've created.
Yeah, exactly.
Future project right there. That's a cool idea. And Chanel, you know, how do you go about writing the script and going from kind of idea to the final product?
So I have to go with what my brain tells me at the time. I have got about 50 half-written script ideas that I have to jot down quickly while the thought's there. Because if I don't, once the thought's gone, it's gone. And so I'll have my laptop in front of me. Right, let's go. It just sort of comes through, if that makes sense. I read like the Kama Sutra, and Nina Hartley, who is a corn star, she wrote a really good book about sex. So I'm constantly researching relationships. A big inspiration is a man called Ian Kerner. He wrote things like She Comes First, He Comes Next, Passionista, all to do with keeping relationships healthy, sex healthy between you, communication. So always learning about how to communicate better. So once I've read the script, I'll read through it out loud, and I won't record it until I'm happy with the flow and I know what I'm trying to get across, it's there. And then I will record it, I'll edit my own voice and space it out so I know the flow's right. And then I'll hand it over to CJ and I'll be like, right, this is what it's about. The key points are here. These are the sound effects that we need. And then he puts his magic end on it and really pulls it all together and creates this really effective, hypnotic experience. And I think I use the word experience a lot because I think it is an experience that we put out there.
Mm-hmm. How long does it take, do you think, from start to finish to do a full track?
I'd say a month. If it's a video, it's longer. That's from me writing it and then putting it together. And most of it, I suppose, is me maybe second guessing myself a lot. And I'll probably read through something one day and be okay with it. I'll read through it the next day and not be okay with it. And then I'll have to go through it again. And especially if there's like a phrase that isn't working right, it'll bug me, so I have to make sure it's right.
But I think in fairness, it is, like say, a month, but it's 2 weeks of you writing and then handing over me, and then I take about 2 weeks to get the music right or think I'm there. And each time I do it, you know, I'll learn a bit more. So hopefully I'm improving as time goes on and each track moves on, you know.
So yeah, a lot of work. I just thought, kind of elephant in the room question. CJ, what do you think? Obviously, Chanel's doing some of these HFO related things that have a nature that, you know, and have a stereotype with them. How do you feel about Chanel doing that and, you know, helping men the way that she does?
Well, I think fundamentally, we trust each other, you know, without any doubt. But for me, it wasn't, you know, all of a sudden it kind of built up over time and you were finding your niche, weren't you, and helping people out. But I think the first success story was a guy in Florida that really did, you know, well for his condition that he had or his issues, and you helped him quite a lot, didn't you? And that it kind of got me engaged with it a bit more, seeing that, you know, it could have a positive effect on men's mental health mainly, but tackling things that are a bit tricky to tackle, let's say. But you cared, it really cared, and you could see it work for this guy, and I wanted to, you know, help with that. Plus, you know, I'm a bit of a photographer as well. I like to use cameras to take portraits and that, and I think anybody with a camera who's got, you know, somebody who's willing to stand in front of them and take pictures, she's quite photogenic as well. So it's an enjoyable experience to get involved with making some of the material, which had to be, you know, provocative, enticing, or whatever.
And I bet a lot of fun as a couple to do that together.
Yeah, and you know, I've received some benefits as well from being the guinea pig. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I can see how it makes a difference to men's health and mental health also. So I think it's important work, and for a lot of it, I was sort of not really paying much attention to it because, you know, it was Chanel's ideas and Chanel's work, and I wanted to just enjoy it and do the best she could, and I trusted her to do the work respectfully, and I've always done that. So when we've grown in trust also in doing it, and I get, like I say, some enjoyment out of putting it together.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think that's what I've really found doing this, like I mentioned before, doing this documentary is the kind of empowerment you give to people. You know, Tom said it in his testimonial, CJ has obviously said it then, but also when we interviewed you, and It seems to be, you know, like a core reason for doing it, and obviously that goes with, well, this is, you know, tell me if I'm wrong, but this is what I found, you know, whether that be about stop smoking or some of the other hypnotherapy tools or niches that you've sort of tried out here and there. It's about empowering people through hypnotism, through that escapism, you know, like you did when you were a carer, and then helping them through that escapism, you know, into that world that you create, to then bring that into their day-to-day and help them do whatever it might be, you know, that's troubling them, whether it be mental health wise, whatever, in their day-to-day lives. You know, why, I'm trying to think a less cheesy way to ask the question than just why is empowerment so important to you. But yeah, in essence, yeah, why is that side of things such a kind of core part of what you do, Chanel?
Because I've lived through it myself, and I think that's one of the most important parts of it, is that, and why people trust me so much is because they've seen my own transformation, they've seen how I've used it myself. And I had so many health issues and so many things from the past that I needed to resolve, and the fact that I was given a tool that I could use myself and do it myself, and found the most incredible life transforming possibilities through it. If I can do it, you can do it. And the world is not at its best at the minute. A lot of people are struggling through various things throughout the world, and the internet has given us a platform where we can help people on the other side of the world and give as many people as possible the option to use these tools, and hope that these tools are just as beneficial to somebody else as they were for myself. And I don't agree with the negative situations that men are finding themselves in at the moment. So men are getting quite a bashing, and I don't agree with that. I think the world needs more strong, independent, free-thinking, masculine men. And I really enjoy creating audio tracks for men to help them become that strong, independent, masculine man that I know you are, because I think that's a natural state to feel in. You can accomplish anything. Like the clarity and straightforward thinking that men have, I'm very jealous of, because I'm a woman, my brain's a bit scattered. But the skills that men have got are so vital to this world. And if any audio tracks that I've done have helped men hone their own skills and create their own quality of life, that means the world to me, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I think, yeah, life is incredibly tough sometimes, and some people experience a lot of pain and maybe just a little bit, but I don't think, you know, there's tools out there such as hypnotherapy and the things that Chanel's worked on and provided tracks for that allow for that pain to not, or the suffering not to be part of that. You know, we can get through it basically with these tools, and I think you have found a good way of doing that, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think so too. Absolutely. So I feel now it'd be a good time to kind of bridge onto what will inevitably be, if you're watching this video as the raw full interview, I'm also doing this chat now as a kind of update for the documentary, because we filmed the documentary. We haven't filmed so many days. I think I worked it out, maybe even including today, it'll work out about 8 days of filming. It's just those 8 days of filming have started in 2020, then in 2022, and then now again in 2024. So I'd like to kind of get onto a bit of an update and ask some questions that are going to be like related to that and how things have changed. So how shall I do this, Chanel? Should we just start as if I start again? Oh, we're back. Oh, I haven't just spoken to you for the last 45 minutes. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, we're back, and I want to see how things are doing, you know, see how things have changed and how things have progressed and how, yeah, things are different for you guys. So looking at my trusted questions again. How have things kind of changed and developed since we last filmed in 2022?
So a lot has happened, especially with the YouTube channel. So we've had a couple of strikes and we were demonetized for a while, but I'm back monetized now. And that's really affected the views and all that kind of stuff on the channel. You sort of get punished when you get demonetized. So feeling the effects on that, but the fact that we still hit 40,000 subscribers with all these issues, I think is incredible. And I am so grateful to everybody that presses that subscribe button, because wow, you enjoy what we create. And it still amazes me, even all these years later, that people are enjoying what we create. So we've been building up Patreon, which has been a really good place to put all of the audios, all of the videos, all of the photos all together. It's an incredible place that people really enjoy hanging around, and we've got Discord as well. So Discord has grown, there's more stuff on there. And so over the last couple of years, everything's just been growing and expanding in positive ways. We've got the new office, which as you can see is 10 times better, a million times better. It's
a million times better, not just a million times better in general than what you had. I mean, I don't think it's a million times. What you had was pretty amazing, but this is a setup is amazing. But compared to this behind me, which, you know, don't look, everyone that's saying, let me just, there we go, there we go. That's how I have to do this conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about your, you know, you've clearly honed, you know, and that's, again, something I think I love about like YouTube and then people like yourself that do the live things, you kind of hone everything. And part of that is then that your setup, you know, and how you do things. And yeah, CJ sent me stuff over the years of, you know, all the new pieces of kit that you got and stuff like that. And it's, yeah, you sort of putting that time and effort, and obviously, you know, you've got Patreon and things like that, and that support that you get from people goes basically straight back into continuing doing what you're,
like you say, yeah,
makes you happy.
And sometimes some of the people that are on Discord are technically minded or musicians themselves, and they're quite happy to give advice and recommendations on equipment and on how things sound and how I could improve it and things like that. So listening to the community members, and like you say, also listening to other creators and seeing what other people are using and putting it all together. But I mean, from when we started, I've had some health issues myself, so we've had to kind of kit the office out that's a bit more friendly for me and a bit more accessible. So a lot of that has been the reason why we've been sort of developing the office and adapting to how I need to work.
Yeah.
But we're at a place now where everything is accessible, each corner is functional. There's editing stations, this side, the other side. You can see the keyboards and everything behind me, and everything's connected, hopefully, without any issues. And yeah, we can just come in here and work away till early hours on music or scripts or whatever, recording.
Excellent. I know it's a potentially it's a difficult subject, so you don't have to, if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But do you mind, you know, maybe delving a bit deeper into, CJ, how things have changed for yourself?
No, that's fine. Absolutely.
You know, when we filmed in 2022, when you were heavily, you know, recording and using, like you say, kit in a certain way, and how that's changed to now.
Well, I've experienced a significant portion of sight loss. I'm down to 25% of peripheral vision left after a stroke in 2021, wasn't it? But it's been getting worse as months go by, to the point now where I do struggle with editing and doing the video work and taking the photos. So I don't do as much of that, and I certainly don't fly the drone anymore. And then Chanel's tried to learn how to do those sort of things, like editing and piloting the drone.
Doing stuff like you know, could have learned when you did a film course, Chanel.
Yeah, putting all that into practice.
Yeah. And the amount of times, for the audience watching this, the amount of times that, you know, I've sort of seen a text from Chanel like, I fucking hate editing. How can you do this? It's bullshit. You know, doing things where you're just like, why is it the piece of text not doing that? Just for everyone anyone who doesn't edit or probably uses any kind of kit, I've been doing it for, I don't know, since 2006 using editing software. I still get days where I'm like, that has never done that before. Why is it doing this? random like glitch has happened or this thing isn't working, and I go in and rant to Alicia about it. So yeah, I get you. I get your troubles. So CJ, how then has you know, you mentioned that you've got some new kit, you know, and how you're using that to, you know, do some of the tracks now. What kind of things have you got?
Well, the first thing really was getting the bigger screens, wasn't it? So I don't know if you can see, we used massive screens here for the editing mainly. On the music side, I was starting to struggle with the technology, the you know, the recording software, the workstation software, in terms of changing the effects in sort of real time or whilst I'm recording, or even applying them. You know, it was getting difficult to target the sections accurately. But now I've discovered these synthesizers which I can apply the effects and create soundscapes in real time as I'm playing, and be expressive with pedals and knobs and buttons and dials. So it's more tactile, feeling my way around things. And then the technology itself, so going to Apple was a big thing, because as my sight deteriorated, I started using VoiceOver on my phone and on my watch, and then on my laptop for navigation menus and things, and getting to the software. And then, you know, of course, I've got the big screens then to zoom in and get close up there. So that has been an expensive exercise, really, to get the level of accessibility that's required for me to be able to use it at a reasonable speed. I'm still quite slow at things, and I do misplace things, trip over things a lot. Things fall in the office and I have to replace them. The camera, I think, has been dropped twice, once in a river. So there's hazards and things like that, but I've learnt over the years to kind of be a bit more careful. And yeah, and then the technology helps with the practical side of editing and then playing the instruments and just being productive. So it's an ongoing process as well. It's you know, things, some days are better than the others, but we're managing fine right now.
Yeah, it's learning, and that's the thing of, yes, these significant life events have happened while we're trying to keep a business going and pay bills and everything else, but he keeps going and we keep learning, we keep pushing forward, we don't give up. We could have many times, especially me over the last 3 years, could have given up and packed it in and gone, it's too hard, I can't do it, I'm worried about my husband, I'm caring for my husband. But he's been such an inspiration to keep going, and the fact that he's adapted, continues to adapt, I continue to learn and adapt, and we've got to this point so far. And so I think for the future, we're here. We plan to be here for many years to come. I've got the material to keep us going for many years to come. And so we've just got to keep learning. And I'd like to thank everybody that does enjoy our audios for your patience, because I know it's unusual for us to not. A lot of other creators get stuff out regular. It takes us longer, but I know you understand, and I'm grateful for your understanding and your patience. And I hope that the stuff that we produce gets better and better, even though the circumstances are very difficult. But that's okay. This is life. And again, we like to lead by example. We are normal people, whatever that means, you know, but we keep going. And just keep creating the stuff that we do, and listening to people. That's the main thing, is we listen to you, we take it on board, and we learn.
And it's beneficial to us as well, I think, because I've developed personally through as a musician, and it's led to other opportunities outside of Anunna Healing, which I wouldn't have had if I hadn't been determined, and with the help and support of Chanel getting through the illnesses and the issues. It's not just all me, you know. Chanel's just as determined and as ferociously determined to fight on to the very last day, I would imagine. So yeah, we're just, you know, doing our thing. it is a mutual beneficial process for me, I think, helping others, and then it comes back here.
Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, it's great to see, obviously being friends with yourselves, although from the part of the documentary, we've only seen each other a few times. Obviously, Alicia talks to you all the time, and we chat and things, and it's great to see. And it's it's also why I am personally interested in and invested in anyone who, because I, personally share those values of just, how empowering being creative is, and being able to just, if you can spend your life doing the thing that makes you passionate, like, how much it gives you and how good it is for yourself and your mental health, and probably those surrounding you. And obviously with yourselves, you're doing that as a team, and you're doing that together, and you're sharing in that kind of journey and growing with a community of other people that can do that. So yeah, it's been great. You kind of, I did have a question about plans for the future, and you kind of answered it there. That was going to be a great ending, but you kind of ended it perfectly. But maybe you mentioned about, you've got sort of years of stuff. Do you have any specific kind of plans for the future that you want to share at the moment?
I want to get as much audios and videos out as possible. I've got such a variety of subjects, so there's more HFO work. I'm working on a script at the moment for breathwork HFO. I've got more, so I've got part 2 to autumn days, that's nearly written as well, and I've changed that. So a lot of people giving me feedback that they don't like it when I talk about somebody else and the listener. They prefer it when it's sort of from me, or from, it makes it more intimate when it's from the first person and the listener. So I've took that feedback on board, and so I'm writing autumn days part 2 with that in mind. And so that's why people's feedback and comments are so important, so it keeps us on the right track going forward. Because like you keep referencing, it is a community, it is everybody working together and all feeding into this magical thing, and I'm determined to keep it going and creating bigger and better quality, more immersive. That's really important as well. All the sound effects and how you feel and your enjoyment of what we create is paramount.
And that's what kind of brings us nicely. That's probably been one of my favourite parts of creating this documentary, that if you're watching the main promo, this main interview, then that you'll probably see it's coming within the next few weeks, I would expect, maybe a little bit more, but definitely before Christmas. If you're watching this at another time, then after watching this video, go watch the documentary. This documentary for me has been great because I've delved into sound effects and kind of creating those universes. I'm personally, as much as I do natural crafts and things like that, I'm also really fascinated by kind of the cyberpunk aesthetic and almost everything that entails, from the music to the visual style and that kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed playing with sound effects and creating more of an escaping track, a track to escape through, and as well as playing with AI video creation, something that I've not really done, and I'm not sure if it's great or not great. Some of the results I really like. Some of the results are definitely a bit meh, but yeah, it's been a fun creative process nonetheless.
You enjoyed the hypnosis side, but the creative aspect, like you say, is so I don't know, it's really enjoyable and really addictive and so beneficial in terms of mental health and physical health, everything. You feel so good about it. But I was inspired by your videos really to delve into crafting, and what I'm holding here is a microphone bag that I made out of wool, and I designed the colours and everything.
Cool, yeah, I like that. That's really cool. Like, oh, it's on the side. The felted bag. Yeah. That's wicked. Very cool.
So yeah, I'm taking my creative aspirations and ideas and I'm going into the actual local community. You talked about the creative community online, but I've gone a step further and been emboldened and empowered, and I have the self-confidence to take some of what I do out into the local community and help other groups.
and that's what's so important. It's great to be able to share these skills and share, you know, be a part of a community that can span, you know, the world, because we're basically all the same. You know, we can share so many different passions, but also to be able to do that with the people that live, you know, near you. You know, I definitely found that with like the natural crafts, and actually we've got some interesting projects for Chanel for you coming up. You've got I'm going to make you a broom, and was it a broom, a kind of witch's staff, and what was the other one? Was it like a wand?
Hi.
A wand. Sorry, you showed me in the. I'm looking. Anyway, yeah, so we've got those coming up. But for today, I suppose that's a good place to leave us. I just want to say.
Hang on, this is the other thing.
Oh, the other thing.
Yeah, we kind of playing with the future prospect of taking the Anunna experience to a live venue, and invite, you know, maybe a small, intimate crowd of people, 20 to 30, I would think, small venue, and try and do a sort of stage hypnosis, but more, you know, the health and healing side aspect and musical healing. I'm going to try and focus on creating acoustic sounds that are therapeutic and healing, you know, such as gongs and singing bowls, and percussion, and some light background music, but all played live, using the fabulous keyboard behind me, which is an Arturia Polybrute analog synthesizer, which is capable of some fantastic live sound. So building up that sort of stage presence and something to deliver from Anunna Healing. And I think it could be a hybrid of, you know, entertaining stage hypnosis to the healing process, and make it an entertaining yet health beneficial experience that you come and experience live.
But
Sounds amazing. But, sorry, but
I don't feel comfortable doing that on stage yet, so
not yet, but we'll
got
rehearse.
that to get over before.
Well, we don't even know.
I wonder if could you not do it as like a know how you have where you go into maybe a museum or an art gallery, and you'll have like a singular thing. So it's, but then obviously maybe you wouldn't do that live. But it makes me think of how some art pieces where you go in and you still have that immersive, maybe live recorded or something like that atmosphere.
Like that,
but
along those lines,
like you say for Chanel, to get over speaking to a room. But at the same time, obviously, yeah, it's going to benefit if you can get a room full of people together, because it's actually those people being able to, you know, chat and meet each other before or after, as well as the immersive atmosphere. And it makes me think of like, how could you, you know, whether if eyes are shut or not, but you could have, you know, visuals and things that sort of help the space become more immersive and help people escape within a space. Like, it's strange that brings me back to university. You know, that's what I wanted to do at university, was to create films that then someone would go in and just kind of escape. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like, yeah, singular or done to the sort of more than just what you get in the cinema, where it's just screen,
more
sound, you know, and a few other things. It's like the entire space has been designed for that purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we should get together. It sounds like you've got some good ideas there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm thinking, just like yourselves have got Patreon, I've been getting a lot of advice from yourselves. I'm thinking that probably soon after these videos come out, I'll be starting a Patreon for this reason, because at the minute I'm not really earning much money from this channel, and it's something that I really want to do some projects like that really could sort of get stuck into and spend a lot of time doing. But yeah, the reality is I have to get off this phone call and then go back onto Google searching for corporate businesses that might want a videographer rather than focusing all my attention on projects like this, which is partly why it's taken so long. But anyway, so yeah, I just want to say thank you so much, guys, for just having us along and yeah, being part of this documentary. Yeah, I'm really hoping that people kind of get some enjoyment and also maybe some empowerment or inspiration from it. Before we go, is there anything else that you would either, you know, like to plug, or maybe if someone's sort of looking to, yeah, learn more from yourselves or sort of support yourselves, where can people go?
head over to Patreon. That's where we upload everything, and it's all ad-free, and it's all in beautiful collections as well, so you don't have to scroll through 4 years worth of stuff. It's all beautifully presented for you, so you get a lot out of that. But I would also like to thank you, Jason, for putting this documentary together. It's not been easy. I don't know how you've accomplished it, but from what I've seen so far, it's incredible. And you've given us a gift. Not many people can say they've got a documentary made about them and one shot so well. So thank you so much. We've known each other for a long time, so it's been lovely getting to work with you on a professional level as well. So you've done something incredible with your film degree. I still struggle with mine, but at least I've got some skills that I'm still using nowadays. So
yeah, I second that. You've given me a lot of advice and a lot of help, and I appreciate that. And I suppose we wouldn't be where we are without some of the help that you've given us in terms of technical side of things and cameras, and then the support with, you know, everything else that's happened and the friendship there.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jason and Alicia.
No worries. Yeah, thank you. She has come home now. I did hear her while we've been recording. Thank you, Alicia.
Yeah, thanks, Alicia.
I'll thank her again after we stop recording, because I know full well she's definitely not going to come in and be on the video, because she's just come back from work. She's just like, no. So yeah, thanks, guys. It's been a really, really great project. And I suppose lastly, thank you to, if you've come to this video through because you're a supporter of my channel, but also thank you if you've come to this video because you're a supporter of Anunna Healing. Is there anything, Chanel, CJ, that you'd like to say to your supporters?
Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It's so lovely to have you part of this journey with us, and I hope you enjoy everything we create, and we create it for you. So please use these tools in the way they're meant to be to enhance your own life. If you're suffering, you don't have to suffer anymore. There's amazing tools out there for you to live the life that you want and you deserve. So hopefully you find it here with us.
Yeah, same. I appreciate the help and support and the following from Discord and on Patreon and also YouTube. There's been so much advice given, and also, you know, for Chanel to be doing the stuff that she does, it's been incredible encouragement for you, hasn't it, as well, from them. And so not just that, but the emotional support as well, and checking in as a friend. You know, that a lot of the members message me direct and offer me support and advice and well wishing and all that, and it's very well received. So thank you very much.
Excellent. I think that's a great place to end it for today. So if you've watched this video and you want to see the documentary, then it's going to be linked at the end, so definitely go check that out. And also obviously go check out Patreon and everything that Anunna Healing does, because yeah, they're just great. They're just great. It's not like they're listening right now. But yeah, other than that, thanks again everyone, and from all of us, say goodbye.
Bye.
Cheers everyone. Cheers.
This is the voice to guide you, soothe you, and stimulate you all at the same time, guiding you to reach that deep, altered state where my words become your new reality. Until this audio ends anyway.